Okay. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Have a Little Talk. It's been a little minute, but we're back. We're continuing the relationship series, and today we are talking about marriage. And who better to have to talk about marriage than my own husband, the Michael Harris? Say hello to the people. Yes, we are here to talk all about marriage. Um, yeah, I have a little game and I have questions which I'm pulling up right now on my phone.
What the game of the questions?
Huh?
Which one?
Both.
Oh,
Is yeah. Um uh, I should have had it up already, but wrong one. There we are. That is not, here we go. Okay. So, um we're going to start with the icebreaker questions. Let me make this full screen real quick. That's better. Okay. I'm going to start with the icebreaker questions. Um, but you seen the stuff on like TikTok and stuff where they ask who did this first, who said I love you first, that kind of stuff, and you just point to who it is.
mm-hmm.
That's basically what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, all right, who is older? Yeah. We're 6 years apart. Yeah. Um, who made the first move? Yeah, I didn't remember, but yeah. Who said I love you first? You said it first. If I remember correctly, you said it first. It was me.
Mm-hmm. You said it when we were friends.
I thought you said it first.
Nope.
Okay.
That was you, gang.
Well, I said it first. Who is the better driver? Me for now. Who is the better cook? You, hands down, hands down. I can cook, but he's better. Uh, who is the introvert? I think we all know that. That would be me.
Meh, 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 meh.
Yes, guilty as charged. And last question: who is the extrovert? We all know that. Man of God. Yeah. All right. So I have discussion questions, and just like we've done before, we'll just both answer them, and just flow. I guess. All right. So the the first question is, how long have you been together, and how long have you been married? Well, how long have we been together, and how long have you been married?
Oh, well, we've been together 6 years, and 5 out of those are married years.
Yep, it'll be 5 years in September.
No, nothing.
What?
Who are you asking these questions for?
Well, originally these questions were designed because remember I have other couples in mind.
Got it.
So I
got
wrote
it,
these with
Got it.
the intention of asking other couples. Which, by the way, you will be hearing from. I have several other married couples in mind who are phenomenal. Um, and they'll be sharing their wisdom as well, answering these same questions. Um, but that's still in the works. So, question number 2. Please tell us the story of how you met.
Okay, so she likes hearing this story.
I
So,
do.
we were definitely I don't know when we became friends on social media, but we were, and I happened to see her real time. At the time, my bishop was still pastoring, and
Doing his MC thing.
he was an MC for a great man of God, Danton Whitley, who had several groups at the time, which
I was in one of them.
she was in one of them, singing either alto or soprano. I'm not
I
sure
was an
which one.
alto.
There in that time.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I sang alto like most of the time.
Um, Yeah, so she was singing. As a matter of fact, the church that we had convocation at last year
Yep.
is where I met
Same church.
her. Well, I didn't meet her there. I ran into her there,
Mm.
and I'm like, oh, okay, okay. I don't know what their thing was, but she had a nice red pleated skirt on and a denim top, red curly hair.
Yep. It was actually a similar style, just a different color.
It was longer,
It was longer.
very
Oh
much
yeah,
so.
yeah. It was a little bit longer, but
About where my length is now. That's probably
oh,
a little
I had
longer.
hair.
You had hair, yes.
Oh, I thought it was short at the
No,
time.
no.
Okay.
Long hair, which nothing against you women with short hair, but long hair is the glory. I'm not shining. That's the glory. She had long hair, red lipstick, and we were coming in, and she was coming out of the room that we were going into, and we bumped into each other.
Literally.
And the rest is history.
Yep. So I'm gonna go back a little further on how we became friends on Facebook. So actually, think about it, might have been like a few years before, like maybe like a year or two before we saw each other at that concert. Bishop had to preach in Aberdeen, and I went to the service with my cousin, and that was the first time I ever saw Bishop at all, ever heard him preach. I didn't know who this man was at all. And when me and my cousin showed up to the church, y'all were outside. It was you, Dad, and Timmy. And I actually thought, because at the time you and Devontae had the same haircut, so I saw you and thought you was him. And I was like, oh, Devontae's here. But then I saw you in the pulpit. And I was like, oh, that was not Devontae. So some time passed, and I ended up adding Bishop on Facebook. And then I noticed you, and I was like, oh, I remember him. And at the time, like I would just add people, and when I added him, I was like, I'm never gonna see this guy again. So whatever. Like, what harm can it do? So I added him, uh, and he accepted my friend request. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Um, and like over time, like we started to interact online. Like at first he would like some stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. Then he would start commenting on my stuff, and I was just like, all right. Then we started like direct messaging online, and that's when it like started, but we didn't see each other again in person. I don't know if the concert was first, but there was also another service at Danson's parents' church at Refuge Temple.
I do remember that church.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I think Bishop was either
he was preaching that service.
Yeah. I know.
That's the service that he first met Dan that and.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember one he was preaching, the other one he was MCing. But yeah, were you at that one?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. This was at a time when he was traveling with Bishop like everywhere. Heavily.
That service, the end of that service was a lot happened at the end of that service.
Yeah.
We won't go into detail, but
to be honest, I don't remember how that service ended.
But I do.
Oh, okay.
It was so he was getting text messages from one of his people in the past, like he was still connected to rather, and this bishop had a run-in with somebody that he had an interaction with someone, and they were kind of called Bishop to get him to come to church and intervene. And so, but this is all happening while Bishop's preaching.
Oh, so I didn't know about that. That's why I don't remember.
Yeah.
I knew. Yeah, I wasn't associated with y'all.
So when he was done preaching, after service, after he got done preaching and doing what he does, we dipped, and yeah.
So we were like, we saw each other, and then it just grew from there. And yeah, that's how we met. We just, it started with us communicating online, but it wasn't like we met online. Like, I knew who he was, he knew who I was, we knew of each other, then we got to know each other, and now we're here. So yeah, sometimes I look at you and I'm like, yo, we're really, like, I really married this dude. Like, it's crazy. It's a good reaction, of course, but yeah. So question number 3, what is/was the hardest adjustment you had to make after getting married?
Hardest adjustment for me was managing the commitment. Because when you're engaged, even though you're engaged still, you're still single. So a lot of things you don't really have to not necessarily commit to, but you don't have to like honor so much.
Yeah, it's like less obligations.
Less time management. I can. Some people, I'm not gonna say me personally, but some people, dip in and out of, not necessarily of the relationship, to be with somebody else, but it's like I don't really have to give you an explanation for what I'm doing. I don't really have to give you too much content or context of anything. I can just do what I do. So, I'm not saying that's what I did, but the commitment, you have to cultivate that, and you have to really bring balance from your personal life, and couple it with your spouse's personal life, and then y'all have to bring balance to the married life. So it's like honoring the commitment of forever. Like it wasn't I've seen marriages end due to not necessarily infidelity, but I've seen marriages end because of one honoring the commitment more than the other. And so and it doesn't necessarily, and when I say honor the commitment, I mean the commitment of marriage, the vows.
Yeah, those vows,
they're not just something you say that sounds cute. No, that they are real, and
and they will be tested.
They will be tested. And so, for richer or poor, for better or worse, and sickness and health, those things get tested.
For sure.
And so I had to adjust and my commitments, and there are other things that I was committed to that I had to kind of pull back from, do away with, take some time away from, to honor the commitment of my marriage. And so that took some time, and that took some adjusting, and it was, I won't say difficult, but it was rough. And it was like, because when you're used to doing things on your own, when you're used to doing things, um, when you're just used to doing things and not having to explain, not having to ask, not having to explain yourself, and when you hear why you're doing that, um, I, I want to. Where you going? I'm going out. Who you going with? Those questions in a marriage, they're valid. And so
They are.
when you're not used to getting them or hearing them, and I'm not saying that I never had to answer her questions. No, like it's like when you hear them in marriage, it's like you you can't buck up.
Yeah, like you have to answer and be truthful. Or I'll say you should. You're supposed to. You're supposed to answer and be truthful because that's your spouse.
And
Like,
then it's even if you've had these kind of conversations before, even if
mhm.
you've had the talk and said, hey, I'm going so and so and so and so on this day and time, and then and that day and time gets there, and and they say, you got it's not a time to buck up. And that's another area that I had to kind of defuse or push down in me, is like, yo, I told you that told you already.
Yeah, because if you're anything like me, like I don't remember everything. Um, yeah, there's an explanation behind that, but I don't want to get into it. But my memory is not the best. Um, I'm working on that, but there are some things that I forget. Um, Especially depending on when he tells me, like if I'm distracted, if I'm doing something else while he's telling me, or if I'm like waking up or falling asleep, then I'm really not gonna remember. So like if you're anything like me, then you need that reminder. So yeah.
Right. And it takes time. It took me some time. While I was never a snapper, I do kind of I would get annoyed and be like, yo, I just, not even 10 minutes ago, I just told you. So, you have to, especially if you're an elephant,
Be patient.
right? If a mouse marries an elephant, you have to be patient.
Yeah.
Elephants don't have a good memory. The
I thought they
mouse,
did.
huh?
I thought they did.
Is it?
Yes, elephants have a good memory. Yeah. You would be the elephant. I would be the mouse.
So the other way around. Like
Yeah.
if you marry a mouse, just gotta remember, like they
All over the place.
memory shot.
Yeah. Very much all over the place. But
But elephants remember everything, and I remember everything
he does.
to the letter, to the T.
Mm-hmm.
Some things I choose. When I say I forgot, it's because I chose to. Like certain things, I just be like over, and I don't want to remember. I choose not to remember anymore.
Mm.
So if you ever hear me say I forgot, it's the truth. I really legit forgot because I wanted to. So that's a little secret for anybody who's ever heard me say that I wanted to.
Yeah. For me, I don't have a choice in the matter. Like some things I remember like it was yesterday, and other things I'm just like, you said that? I did that? Like, I have to be reminded. But for me, the hardest adjustment that I had to make was dying to my old self. Um, one thing I learned about marriage is that um, entering into a marriage is like entering into any kind of covenant. It requires a death. There's a reason why when you get married, you go to an altar. What happens at the altar? Something has to die.
Oh, you come to preach.
No, I'm just saying something. When you bring something to the altar, when you go to the altar, it's to make a sacrifice. In the Old Testament, when they brought the animals to the altar, they brought it so the animal had to die. Um, and the purpose of that thing dying is so that God can get the glory. So since we're talking about marriage, um, yeah, like your old self, your old ways, your old mindset, it it has to die. And it's part of the reason why marriage needs to be taken seriously, because it's a covenant. Like you don't just say this stuff like you're doing it before people and before God, like because you're entering into a covenant, whether you believe or not. But yeah, dying to my old self, my old mindset, I had to unlearn a lot of things, a lot of behaviors. Like I I have pretty much become a new person since um since getting married. Um which has been a great thing. Uh I'm blossoming now into the woman I feel that I was supposed to be. Um from the time I was created. Um yeah, that's been the biggest adjustment. And it when and I'm 31 now. We got I don't remember how old I was when we met, but we got married when I was 27. So while I'm not old, I certainly have before meeting him, I was a certain way for so long. And when you're in a certain way for so long and nobody's checking you on it, nobody's challenging you on it, nobody is bringing it up to you, they're just oh, that's just her, or that's just them. And then you link up with somebody who is uh checking you and challenging you and you know causing you to grow, like you causing you to grow and become better and to do better. It's uncomfortable. It's very much uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It's like this is a wooden table we're sitting at. When it was first cut in the plank, I'm sure it was rough, but it had to be sanded down, it had to go through a process. And now it's a smooth table. I can run my hand across the table and won't get a splinter.
Mm.
Well, hopefully. Where I'm where I'm sitting.
It's not a brand new table. So.
No, it's not a brand new table, but I'm saying like when it was being made for production, for when it was being made, it had to go through a process, and I had to go through a process. So it
Both of us did.
yeah, we both did. For a long time, it felt like it was me. Like it felt like it was only me. I felt like I was the problem for a long time. Um, and not that like you were never bad. Like you were never a bad husband or anything like that. It seemed like in my eyes, it seemed like I had a lot more issues and problems and things like that I had to work through. And it didn't make me feel any kind of way. If anything, it made me feel bad about myself. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm a mess. Like some days I would just feel like I was a mess, and I would feel bad for you for having to like deal with me and put up with me. But I appreciate you being patient and still loving me through my process. So yeah. What question was that? That was 4. Okay. Oh no. That was 3. Okay. Um, what was the hardest challenge the two of you? Well, What was the hardest challenge that we faced together, and how did we overcome? I mean, it's been a few things. Um, I think the first thing that came to mind was when like when you got in an accident.
Mm,
I mean, that's something, but like, yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say over the pandemic, my that the time that I didn't come home.
We can talk about it. We can talk about it, but whew,
Yeah, I was with my best friend, and well, this is the thing. So again, when you're married, like I'm not what I'm not saying is that you have to be a yes man or a yes woman or a no ma'am. Like I'm not saying you have to be be your spouse's child.
yeah,
But what I am saying is this was a learning experience for me. Details are everything.
yes,
Details are very important,
they matter.
and they do matter. And the timing of the details matter as well. Like they matter. So I was a friend out in the morning.
Hmm.
So we all know that during the pandemic, during the shutdown, everybody had a lot of time. So especially us who were in education at the time.
Hmm.
You know why we had a lot of time? Because there was no school. School was closed.
Yep. Nobody was physically coming
Nobody
to
was
school.
physically in the building. And if you work in early childhood education, you already know that these daycare centers were super duper closed.
Hmm.
Closed. Like your kid may have had a Zoom for about 10 minutes.
That's
That was it.
and you was done.
He was done. So that's what happened to me. So I have a friend of mine, a pastor friend of mine, and his church at the time. I'm not gonna give any details on that.
Praise
We honor
God.
the Lord.
But
They were doing a
that
food.
I knew about.
She knew about that, the food pantry. So then I went to my best friend's home to go see our godchildren. That part I disclosed a little later.
Another important detail is this best friend is a female.
Yeah. So um I ended up falling asleep.
And this day, now I had to work through the pandemic because I was working in food service. So there were no days off for me. Um, I got the stimulus check or whatever, but I didn't get to collect unemployment because I wasn't about to stop working. I was very much prideful back then. But I was at work, and I knew he went to the food drive or whatever, but I come home and he's not there. So yeah. Mhm.
And yeah, she was not home. She was not happy. She's calling everybody.
I I was calling and texting you. Um, call and text her. Uh, text your brother, and I ended up calling Bishop because literally all night long, I heard nothing, and I was up, and now me, y'all, if anybody knows me, I am a worrier, especially when it comes to people that I love. So not only am I afraid, I'm angry. Um, at the time, we did not have a car, so it's not like I could just go and find him or like go get him. So that just adds to it. I'm, every negative emotion basically I was feeling. I don't think I heard anything until like 3-4 o'clock that morning. And even when I did, like I was just, it pissed me off even more. So yeah, I'll let you continue.
So at that time, she just mentioned there was no running of anything. So it was like I had to wait to see her, and I get home, and we didn't fight. She laid me out.
And did.
I had to eat it, but we grew from that.
We did.
It took a lot of communication,
Mm-hmm.
which at that point in time we lacked.
Yeah.
And I think because we were under one another for so long, because at that time, like there wasn't any, there weren't as many outlets because things were closed.
Yeah, like we didn't have nowhere to go. I went to work and went home, and he was working from home. So
Literally.
yeah.
So when I did go places, it was only 3 places I went. Four. I went to Target.
We stayed at Target during the pandemic.
Target, Walmart, Lowe's were my state, and Giant. Target, Walmart, Giant, Lowe's.
Yep.
Because my best friend, brother, he was a project person.
He still is.
Well, he still is.
Like,
Mr. DIY himself.
He's staying at Lowe's.
Mr. Do It Yourself himself. And Home Depot, depending on the situation.
Yep.
That's where I was. So if I wasn't with him, I was over with my godchildren. If I wasn't there, I was helping a past friend of mine doing. So literally those places.
Mm-hmm.
And so kind of out of habit and routine, you don't. And also I thought I would have made it home before she got home. But again, excuse me, I just drank one of these. So details, when you're in any relationship, details matter, but especially your marriage. Well, the one you take serious.
You shouldn't be getting married if you don't take it seriously in the first place. But who are me to judge?
You're not gonna step on a soapbox.
Oh no, I'm not.
I
just threw it out there.
But when you're serious about your covenant and your commitment, you spare no details,
especially when it involves the opposite sex.
Excuse me.
And you don't want to leave room for suspicion. And in this particular situation, like, it was wide open. I was thinking like anything from he is dead in a ditch to they are humping. Like, so yeah.
Which at the time she was involved with someone, and I married. I mean, again, it does not matter. Well,
I mean, granted, you two are both very honorable people. Have always been. Like, y'all have both been honorable people, but again, in this situation, I didn't been at work all day. I come home, you ain't there. Nobody's answering the phone. Nobody's telling me anything. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm afraid. Like, all these things are going on in my head. My head is, I'm not thinking straight.
And mind you, also, And then also you have to understand to the background of your significant other
Yes.
and take those things into account to make sure you leave no room for flashbacks
Yep.
or past suspicions.
Yep. Because in my past marriage, in my first marriage, um my ex-husband was very neglectful. He was the type, he would just up and leave and just be gone. And to this day, I don't know. I never knew. And to this day, I don't know. Not that it matters, but I never knew who he was with, where he was, if he was safe, nothing like that. He would just leave and then come back whenever he freaking felt like it. And, outside of that, in past relationships, I've been abused, I have been manipulated, I have been just done wrong. So, and this was earlier in our marriage. So, like, I was still carrying that. Like, I was still carrying a lot of that pain and uh, I want to say baggage, but like, I was still carrying that. So, just, it was a lot like working against us in this given situation. So it just didn't. It was, yeah, it was bad.
Very bad.
It was I I had my stuff packed and I was about to be out. Like,
Yeah.
thank God for Bishop. He has, from day one, he has been our counsel um when it comes to our marriage, and even personally, um you know he was the one who married us, so that's how it's supposed to be. But that's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, we overcame it, and
Yeah.
we're definitely better.
And also, um, I am not perfect by far. So let me just say that I'm not perfect by far. And people really think that I am the golden child of the fellowship. I'm not. I mean, first of all, he has no picks. Period.
No.
The only golden child is his only begotten.
Okay. That Hayden.
Hayden. He literally can do no wrong. I mean, he doesn't try to do wrong, but anyway, but
Yeah, he's a good
So
kid.
when I tell you I got chewed out, like chewed out
And it.
completely, away from her and in front of her. Like, and that's honestly what's supposed to happen. Like when you're close to people, they get to do that. They get to challenge you. They get to get get under your skin. They get to do that. Because if that connection is honorable, I guess supposed to be, why wouldn't you? Who who else should be able to do that? Um, who else should be able to do that?
Exactly.
And so yeah, it took a lot of communication. It took a lot of details. It took a lot of um, rebuilding trust. Because even though nothing happened, it was the mere fact of the suspicion that
Yeah.
it could happen. So I had to take a step back from um, that friendship for a minute, and to not saying that there was any love lost from that connection. It was just that you I need you all to understand, like, I have to be over here for a minute and get this together and get this tight again.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that we won't ever converse again, and not saying that we're not going to ever be on good terms, and not saying that you're going to stop allowing me to be the godfather of your children. And she understood, like, and she was, you know, understanding. Like, when y'all get it together, y'all be back, and here we are.
Yeah. And one thing that y'all who are friends with married folk, especially if you're single, um, please remember that no matter how long you've known this individual, when they get married, that marriage comes first before anything else. The only thing that comes before that marriage is God Himself. The marriage comes first. Y'all are besties. That's wonderful. Love that for y'all. But at the end of the day, the marriage comes first. And you have to understand that, and you have to respect that.
Right.
And if you're as close as you say you are, it shouldn't be a problem.
Which it wasn't.
Yeah.
And again, she understood, like, yep, dog, get that. Like,
she actually she encourages those kind of things, like, so yeah,
like, oh, you're not gonna be over here, and go.
Yeah, that's the thing about the people in our inner circle, like the true ones, like they will send us home. Like why are you still here? Like, go home, to your husband, go home to your wife. Talk to you later. So,
or where is she? Or where is
yeah,
he?
like it's never like the other one is always regarded. There's always, like, with everyone who is close to us, and that's how I know the true ones from the ones that I'm just like, nah, that is just it's just like wordplay with them. The true ones, they have regard no matter who they met first. Because since moving out here, I've made my own friends and my own connections with both genders. So sorry, I shouldn't say both genders, with many different people.
Because people be.
Yeah. Please don't come for me. I don't. It's Pride Month still. Don't come for me, please. Okay. But I've made my own connections. Okay. And the ones who truly love me, they have embraced Michael as well. Um, and there's a regard. So yeah.
And it's, yeah, there's a regard.
Yeah.
And a sure way to tell that is, I'm not telling you to put yourself in a situation I'm not telling you to test waters.
Mm-mm.
But hear me. But when your waters do get tested, a sure way to tell that connection, or um to see if the connection is believable,
Mm-hmm.
is if you're a friend. And I don't even, because there are same sex relationships that go that can go
It can happen.
it can happen. So that goes for you ladies, and it goes for you two gentlemen. Like,
Okay.
if you hear things like, she don't have to know,
I'll punch you in your throat.
or I'm not talking about me.
Oh. But just so y'all know, I will make you swallow your Adam's apple and take you to the hospital.
Like, hearing things like, she doesn't have to know, or don't tell him, or like,
There's definitely signs. Like
Signs.
you can tell
You
when
can
somebody don't
tell
respect your marriage. Like if if they're always like only inviting you
that part.
and not like I'm at the point now like if there is not at least an invitation extended to him, I'm it's likely that I'm not gonna go. Um, and wherever he gets invited, they always like they make sure that I know about it. They make sure I know that I also am invited. And if I'm not able to go, before they even say hi to him, they're like, "Where's my girl?" They're like, "Where's she at?"
I am always disregarded. Always.
Like when I am there, they come and hug me first.
I get no love.
You do just after me.
I get no love. Countless times. Countless times. Like all of my female friends have just
They love me. I'm their girl now. So
there is no me. I have nothing.
yeah. But yeah, if they are not if they're not embracing your spouse, that's a sign. If they're not inviting your spouse, if they don't regard them, that's a sign. But you also have to be careful like when it comes to, and I think I am getting ahead of myself. But whatever, it's my show. Um you have to be mindful of what you tell your friends and what you go to them with, because and this is friends and family, because if you're only telling them like negative things about your spouse, or if whenever you bring your spouse up you're complaining about them, they don't do this, they don't do that, they get on my nerves, da 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 da.
It creates a a lot of room for a lot of things.
Yeah, and then like God forbid this friend has ill intentions or like secretly wants you or something like that, cause yeah, cause and then you gonna, oh, he not doing this, that, and the third, and that leaves room. And not
then they'll think that they could do whatever
yeah,
their spouse is not doing.
yeah, like they think that they can that, you can never compare ever.
Or they'll try to wiggle their way in.
Yeah, like, and it doesn't just leave room for people, it leaves room for the enemy to come in and infiltrate your union, and you don't want that. You don't want that. So just be mindful. And again, I'll save it for the actual question, but be mindful, like if you are going to your friends about your spouse, like tell them the good things too. Like make sure there's a balance. Like make sure you're highlighting the good things that they're doing, so that you're not putting a negative image in your friend's head, because that could play a part in why there's no respect or regard for your spouse. You always complaining about them, like, like if when my friends tell me about the people that they dating and stuff like that, or the people that they talking to, and they child, with me it only takes one bad story and I'm just like, where they at? Especially with my brothers, just like I just want to know where she's at. I just want to talk. Like we're not going to jump, you just come outside, like. So, and not that they can't come to me, but I'm just protective. I am protective. But yeah. So that I don't get too off topic. You gotta be mindful. Make sure you're not creating a negative image in the mind of your friends and your family and those who love you, because they love
they're
you.
anything like her.
Yeah.
They love hard, and they think they're a secret assassin.
I am.
You're not.
You don't know that.
I know everything about you.
True. But I don't play. I don't play when it comes to people I love, and especially since we're talking about marriage, when it comes to him, I don't play. And in a normal situation, I don't talk much. So when it comes to him, there won't be no talking. Like you look up, and I'm not gonna be in my seat no more. Like point blank period, I don't play. Um, but yeah, to that was our hardest challenge, but we did overcome it, and we're like our communication is a lot better now, and it's still improving. Like that had to do with like telling each other our whereabouts, but like now I'm getting better with like expressing my feelings, and I I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think I handle conflict better now. um I used to just like blow up or snap, or actually I used to bottle it up and then become a ticking time bomb, and just like everything I've been feeling would just come out, and I was very explosive. um but now, like if I need a minute, I'll say that, or I'll be like, you when you did this, you made me feel this way, or I would this is what was going on, and that's why I said that I did that, or I reacted this way. So would you agree I'm getting better at explaining, like, yeah. Okay.
She is.
I forgot I had this bracelet on. I forgot what that I didn't know what that noise was.
Honestly, she is getting better. You know, yeah, because she's right. I had to, which is another reason why in that moment, in that situation, was also another, like,
That was another thing against this. I was ready to.
because she was also holding in some other things that I had been doing.
Other things that had happened before, like leading up to, because that wasn't the first time that he went somewhere and didn't say anything, and I'm like, what the, like, where are you at? And it was never a matter of knowing his every move. It wasn't that. It's just like, I need to know that you're safe. Like, I love you and I care about you. I care about your safety. And we live in freaking Philadelphia. Like,
which doesn't bother me. It didn't. It doesn't now.
You were born and raised here. I was not.
I get into people who know I was born and raised here too. So it's like,
it's something happening out here every day. 95 just collapsed. Like,
I don't drive, so be near 95. But that's neither here nor there. But
it's always something going on out here, whether we know about it or not.
So, that also has to be. So again, like that was also the headbutt.
Yeah, it was just a lot.
And those moments happened a lot, where it's like, I thought we were past that. I thought, and here we go, and then I'm looking like I don't care when I do, but it's like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, there was a lot of times he was like caught off guard, and I'm like, I was still holding on to it, so for me, it's still fresh in my head. But he's like,
I apologized,
yeah.
or I did bring this to your attention, or I did say something. Because with me, I get a lot of things from my bishop. You do something, like you bring light to it in a certain situation. Hey, well, let's handle this right here. Right now. And something that old school parents that would say, where you embarrass me is where I'm going to embarrass you. Where you where you rear your head at. If something's happening in public, let's talk about this. What's up? And so, like, in most situations and at most times, I'll be the one to, openly be like, hey, what's up? And, certain places I don't care about the response. And there are other places where it's like, this has to wait.
Mm.
This has to wait.
Mm.
Because, I'm a firm believer in not embarrassing others.
Yep. And that's embarrassment will cause me to shut down. Cause like I came from an environment where my thoughts and feelings were not validated or regarded. So I had to keep it to myself. Like when no one around you takes you seriously, and when you're disregarded a lot, then you have no choice but to internalize it. But then you come into a union with someone who actually cares about how you feel and what you think and what you're going through. And it's like, so you meant it when you said you wanted to know. Like, it had to click for me that he actually, like, he doesn't want me to tell him so he can throw it back in my face, or so he can use it against me, or try to like gaslight me, and because that's what I used to deal with. So like it had to click for me that he wanted me to tell him so we could work through it, not so that he could use it against me. So now that I know that, like, I am becoming more comfortable. I'm just like, like, okay, so when this happened, it made me feel this way. And that's why I reacted that way. I apologize. That's another thing. That's another thing that was big for me. Like, apologizing, because like, even though you explained, you did the whole, I felt da da da. Okay, the reaction was still offensive. Like so you got to make that right too. Like, it's twofold. Resolving conflict, especially with actually no, resolving conflict period is twofold.
Yeah, it doesn't conflict with anyone is twofold. Resolving that is twofold.
Because you still did what you did. So, yeah. After you explain,
now if you're not sorry, I'm not saying that's okay.
But don't say you're sorry if you're not.
Because if you meant what you did, I mean, you can own up to that too.
Yeah, say that. Like, if you meant to do it, say that. But if you truly are sorry, and you truly do feel bad,
right? And and if that was a reflex,
yes,
then
say that.
Say that.
What is the next question? Oh, okay. I think we've been in the game long enough to answer this question. What piece of advice? Yeah, okay. What piece of advice would you give to a newlywed couple? I'll let you go first.
Newlywed couple. Detox. detox what you think a marriage is,
Yep.
detox the marriages you've seen, detox if you've been married and you're marrying somebody else, detox that marriage,
Mm-hmm.
um and detox your past relationships,
Yes.
because and detox the dating stage, the courting stage, and detox the engagement stage.
Cause that's over, honey. That's over.
Because after you say I do, you are no longer a fiance.
Yep.
You are, and you are no longer a bride or a groom. You are a husband or a wife or a wife, and a husband or a husband.
Still proud.
No no one is excluded.
You are now a whole wife or a whole husband. That's his point.
Or a whole they, a whole them, a whole all of those.
You're a whole spouse. Okay. So yeah, all that dating and engagement, that's over now.
You are no longer a fiance. You are
you in this thing now.
You're one.
The wedding is over.
So what my point is what you've learned in those stages and what you've learned in the past, it no longer exists. That for I don't care how many years, days, months you were together. Once you say I do, that's day number one all over again.
Mm-hmm.
And literally you have to learn that person all over again, because what you were prior to your marriage, you're not going to be that in your marriage.
Nope.
Like the finance piece, the budgeting, the all those things are cool and they're good, but that's not going to keep the marriage.
Nope.
Like, and your spouse, they're not your past boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
They're not your past. They're not your ex-husband or wife.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even your fiance. Again, that person is new, because that person was only showing you what you wanted. That person is only showing you to them that they wanted you to see, to either maintain the engagement. First, they want you to maintain the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Then, after you give them that ring to announce the commitment, then they want to show you that person that you need to see to maintain that. But now that you're married, they're going to show you another side of them. And then you get to also see the side that they are every day
behind closed doors,
outside of their friends' presence, outside of their coworkers' presence.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in it now, so you can't be there for a year and sign a form that says you're terminating your lease. There is no termination of a lease after a year or even after 6 months. Nope.
And I mean, even if you do try to walk away, it's not gonna be easy. Like, divorce is a whole process. So it ain't like, all right, see you and you out. Like,
you have to be,
it's a whole process.
Separated. I've learned this from another friend. You have to be separated for a whole year.
Yeah.
In certain states, you have to be separated for a whole year, and then
You can file.
you can file.
That's what I had to do, because at the time, I think they weren't. It had been past the point to get an annulment. I couldn't get it annulled. I don't remember exactly, but I couldn't get it annulled. So yeah, you have to be separated for a whole year before you can even file.
And then you have to wait some more time.
Yeah, because then once you serve them, they have to respond. And again, uh, my ex didn't want to respond. So it's a lot. For me, it was a lot of waiting. It took like it took 2 years to finalize my divorce, and I was only married to the man for 5 months, and it took 2 years.
So
So yeah, keep that in mind.
so that's my the detoxing, the
Mm.
getting everything out of your system. And I mean
Mhm.
like inhibitions and your your fetishes. I'm talking about like detoxing everything that you learned, everything that others have shown you what
Mhm.
a relationship should be,
Mhm.
or showed you their relationship and try to no, your relationship with your spouse, your marriage is going to be unique to you and the individual that you're with.
Yep.
Your marriage is not going to be like mine, although there will be some similarities in the style of marriage you have, or some similarities in your partner that you may see in me or Malika, but your marriage is not going to be like mine.
Mhm. You're not us, and we are not you.
Exactly. And you know,
Oh boy.
because it's I don't want to get canceled.
Y'all know who his wife is.
But what I'm saying is like, so you know, if you are same sex marriages, the you know that those are unique marriages. Those are unique because you have two same sex people
Mhm.
that love each other and want to be with each other for the rest of their days.
Yeah.
Exhausting. I'm I'm a lot to handle. She's a lot to handle.
Mhm.
So two of me, two of her. That's a lot, and you want to make sure that you are ready, willing, and able to withstand all that comes with, because
Yeah.
there are not going to be daffodils and lilies every single day.
Okay.
Storms will come.
This we
And
know
know
for
for sure.
sure.
Can you stand the rain?
That's what the songwriter said. Listen, that song's prophetic. Can you stand the rain is prophetic. And to add, well, to add to 2 points, but to add to, like, if you were in a same sex relationship, you know what you're getting in. It kind of, I hope this isn't taken out of context, but you kind of know what you're getting into, because like, if you're a woman and then you get in a relationship with another woman, you know how women are, and you know how men are. So like, you you have an idea, like, yes, they're still a person, their own person, an individual, but in a general sense, if you're in a same-sex relationship, it kind of gives you an idea, you know what you're getting into. So it's just you just want to keep that in mind. And then with you saying like detox, it's not just the bad relationships but the good ones too. Because if you had a good relationship and like it ended well, great, love that for you. But they are still not them. So you don't want to go into this new union with unrealistic expectations. Like if the old one was, uh, bringing you flowers and whining and dining you and all that stuff, like that's great. But like, and even if the relationship ended well, because I did have one relationship that did end well, but you don't go into the new one expecting them to do what the old person did. It's a blank slate. It is a clean slate. So detox from the good and the bad.
Yeah, because it's not a. You don't want to compare.
Yeah.
Because comparison. Jonathan McReynolds.
I was thinking the same thing. Comparison kills. That's one of his
Comparison,
songs.
it kills. It does.
Comparison kills. Yes.
Because you put a person in a box
Mm-hmm.
and you compare, and it doesn't matter whether they're good comparisons or bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
You're still comparing them. You're still putting this person in the same box, the same mold.
Yeah.
And trying to compare to see what are you comparing them for?
Right.
Because if in fact they fit all that criteria or don't fit all that criteria, why aren't you with that last one?
Okay. Because it ended for a reason. Whether it was messy or whether it was mutual or amicable, it ended. It's over.
So there's no more comparison.
Right.
And you also don't want to compare your union to someone else's.
Oh, please don't do that. Don't do that.
Some unions have longevity.
Mm-hmm.
And have withstood. There is no way that I'm going to compare our marriage to somebody who's been married 40 years.
Yeah, like Pastor what's her last name? The church we were at Sunday. She says she and her husband have been married 40 years. Pastor Gail.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not
listen. Please.
Listen.
Like, please. 5 years compared to 40, please.
No there is no comparison.
None.
And then you don't want to compare. There's no way that I'm going to compare my marriage to someone who's been married and a couple who's been married that has children.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's different.
It's different.
And then like and also like you don't know what you never know. You got to be careful what you covet, because you don't know what it took for them to get there. You don't know what they went through behind closed doors. And even if you did, at the end of the day, it's not you. You weren't in their shoes. You don't even know if you have the capacity to deal with what they dealt with or to go through what they went through. There's some stuff that we went through that other couples did not make it through. I know firsthand there are other couples that did not make it through some of the things that we went through. They're divorced today. So it's not the same. Like, no, marriages are like fingerprints. No two are the same.
So detox and don't compare.
Yep.
Your marriage is going to be uniquely yours. and again, like there may be some similarities in them, but again, you don't know the mindset behind what a person, like she said, what a person or union has gone through.
Excuse me. You have no idea. Even if you think you do, you have no idea.
Even if you were up close and personal, again, you have no idea because
Yeah.
you're not that individual.
It could be your best friend. You still have no idea.
I mean, again, maybe there are some similarities and there are some likenesses, but that is a unique marriage that has the capacity for the two people that's in it.
Exactly.
And they don't even know that marriage's capacity,
Mm-hmm.
because what I may say, I'm that's my done point. It might not be my done point.
Child, you, child. That's why they say never, because you never know until you actually deal with that situation. Until you're in it yourself. Never say never, because literally, I used to always be like, oh, I'll never do that. I would never. Literally everything I said I would never do, I ended up doing. So like that word never is like not it's not really in my it's not even really in my vocabulary like that anymore. So yeah.
Yeah, likewise. I've said I would never do some things, and
Ciao.
I'm seeing myself. I'm here.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not staying for that.
Y'all don't even know half of our story. One day we'll share it, but yeah, we've been through a lot together, and we are still here, and I'm grateful, truly grateful. And I'm gonna stop there because I'm not gonna cry today.
Maybe.
I'm not.
What about you? What advice do you have?
Oh, okay. I was just letting you like, you know,
I want to
drive
hear
your
your
point
advice.
home.
Just in case I get married again. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I have to say I'm kidding really fast. I have to
Cause he's not getting married again. Like, where he going after this? What can none of y'all trollops compare to me? None of y'all. Y'all not me. Like we just said that. You're not me.
exactly.
So yeah. So no, he ain't married none of y'all. Nobody.
I mean,
Nobody.
just I'm kidding. Again, I'm kidding.
You shoot your shot if you want to. I'm gonna
kidding.
shoot.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
You can shoot your shot if you want to. You will disappear. Make sure your affairs are in order. Then shoot your shot. Cause me and my people is coming for you. Guaranteed. Make sure you got your affairs in order. Then shoot your shot. Cause it'll be the last. It'll be the last thing you do.
Advice.
Guaranteed.
Advice.
I just had to drive that point home first. Okay. Amen. Advice. I'm back. Praise God. Okay, my advice. The best person to go to about your spouse is God. And I'm gonna backpedal a little bit. First of all, my hope and prayer is that you and your spouse have your own personal relationship with God. Because the best person to go to about your spouse is God, the one who created them. Because and this is with good and bad things, but like if there's an issue, if there is something about them that kind of like rubs you the wrong way, or there's something that you want them to see, or like if you're trying to get them to see something from your point of view, or there's or like any kind of issue that you're having with your spouse, um especially if you have trouble articulating what it is that you want or need from them, the best person to go to about them is God, the one who created them, because God has a way of revealing things. God knows your spouse better than you do. He created them. So God has a way of dealing with them. And that's another reason why whoever you do marry, make sure that they have a relationship with God. So that they have access, so that God can speak to them. And so that when God does speak to them or reveal something to them, that they know it was him. Because it's I'll tell a quick story. There was something Jackie Hill Perry and her husband, they talked about this. Um, she if there's something, she does this with her husband. She will pray, go to God about him or whatever. Like, not that he's a bad man or anything. They're great. Her and her husband are great. But he'll bring it up, like, oh, this and that happened, or I realized this, and she'll just simply smile and be like, "Thank you, Holy Spirit. I was praying to God about that." And God is the best person for endless reasons. He made your spouse. He knows your spouse. He can deal with them in a way that nobody else can. God has a way of like really getting to the heart of the matter, getting to the root of an issue. You know what I mean? Like, God is the best person to handle it, honestly. And I'm not saying don't confide in your friends and don't confide in your family and don't confide in whoever it is that counsels y'all. By all means, yes, do that. But like, just God has a way of dealing with them that nobody else can.
You must come at the door. Sorry.
I'm crying. God has no picks. God is not biased. God, God is not gonna, whatever it is you go to him about, he's not gonna hold that against your spouse. Like, God's not gonna change. God's not gonna switch up. You know what I mean? Like, and we as humans, we are finite and we're fallible. We, we have our opinions, we have our thoughts and things like that. And not that they're all wrong, but sometimes when we're judging a situation, we tend to sprinkle our emotions and our thoughts, and, oh, well, if that were me, I would do this, that, and the third. Okay, well, again, it's not you. But and again, it's not always wrong, but when it comes to we humans, we sometimes we're not the best source. The best source for anything is God, but since we're talking about marriage, it's best to go to God about it. And the song is true. He may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. So, like the scripture says, pray without ceasing. God's not a genie, so it's not like you can go to him and be like, like he's not in a lamp that you can rub and you don't get 3 wishes. Like, he's not that. He is not the Fairly Odd Parents, where you wish for something, boom, it happens. It's not always going to happen as soon as you pray for it. So, go to God about your spouse. At least go to God first. I'm not saying that you can't go to people in your circle or the one who, or wise counsel, definitely go to wise counsel, but at least go to God first. He is the best source. He is the source. Like if you need to repair something, you want to what are you singing?
You said you're the source.
Oh, okay. When you're putting something together, if you have to repair something, it's helpful to refer back to the manual that the manufacturer gave you. Like, you want to consult the manufacturer. Do the same thing with your spouse. Consult the manufacturer. And we're out of time.
Oh.
But this was good. This was a good episode. We pray that you took something away from this that is useful and helpful for your marriage, your relationship. We're the first voices that you heard from. The plan is to bring on other married couples. I have several in mind that, again, are phenomenal. You'll be hearing from them. They'll be answering the same question. Excuse me.
Did you ask all of them?
Not individually, but I'm going to.
I'm saying, did you ask me all those questions?
No, there were 2 more that we didn't get to, but
good.
Okay.
I just don't want you to exhaust those questions.
Yeah, understandable. But they'll be coming from different couples. They'll be different. The answers will be different.
That's true. That is true, but
yeah, we got through most of them. The good ones. I mean, they're all good, but yeah, this was good. Definitely stay tuned for more episodes. We'll be back soon with another little talk. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope that you learned from it. Thank you all. Thank you. We love you, and we will see you next time.